The state of Utah reaches its goal in the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, 70%. But when you take a closer look, the numbers vary from place to place. We'll show you why and why it matters.
Elective surgeries are having to be rescheduled here in Utah because of a critical blood shortage. What surgeries are being postponed coming up.
I'm tracking another heat wave, how long this one will last and how hot our temperatures will get coming up.
These guys are invading Utah like you wouldn't believe. I've got the story coming up.
I'll tell you where you can see this World War II era bomber and why you should bring a kid.
A family pet is on the loose in a Tooele neighborhood, and people are on edge about it. Why everyone is anxious to bring it home.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, Utah has hit a major goal for COVID-19 vaccinations. The governor's office announced today that a little more than 70% of Utahns over the age of 18 have now had at least one dose of the vaccine. State numbers have us at 65%, but when you factor in tribal services, the VA, and other federal resources, we're at 70.2%. About a third of the state's population is under 18, and vaccines recently opened up to those over the age of 12.
Vaccination percentages vary widely around the state, and there are lots of theories as to why. Going in depth this evening, we're looking at how strongly 3 of the most common theories hold up.
Fox 13's Max Roth joins us live in studio this afternoon. Max.
Yeah, Bob and Kelly, you know, if the whole state were like a couple of counties, the best case is Summit County, we would have hit herd immunity a long time ago. 78% of people in Summit over 12 are fully vaccinated there. The health district right next to them, the Tri-Counties, they're still at 32%.
Utah is split into 13 health districts. These are the rates of fully vaccinated people over 12 in each. And we turned those into a rank. Summit County, number 1, most vaccinated. The Tri-Counties, number 13, the rest in between. The first theory on disparity: age. Regions with the most kids have fewer people eligible, so maybe less vaccination. Using those rankings in a chart like this, we'll see how each county's rate of vaccination compares with the others. So going with age, it goes to figure the regions with the most adults will have the most vaccinated people, and that is true at first. Summit County is oldest and most vaccinated. No difference in ranking. The Tri-Counties are youngest and least vaccinated. Good so far. But look at the rest. Southeast and Southwest Utah have older populations and low vaccination rates. Is it rural-urban? We ranked population density for every region, and that did better. Summit County, a big outlier, the 10th most rural and the most vaccinated county. Another theory are people with more money getting vaccinated. Here are the rankings on per capita income, and that is the closest of the 3 theories. So here are those 3 theories in order, closest to furthest from predicting vaccination rates: income, then population density, and then age. Of course, some of you are wondering about a common sense theory you spotted right away. Back to the map. Look at the Wasatch Front and back, and you have the top 6 vaccinated counties. Some rural areas are close to the big city, and proximity to the city matters.
But there are still some big questions that are not answered by this. Why is the area around St. George and Cedar City 11th? They have lots of resources there. Why is Utah County lagging among urban areas? Southeast Utah is just as vaccinated as Utah County, the second most populous in the whole state. Some hesitancy must be coming into play. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Max, thank you. Over the holiday weekend, nearly 1,500 vaccine doses were administered in Utah. That means more than 1.4 million Utahns are now fully vaccinated.
We also got COVID-19 numbers today for the entire holiday weekend. As you can see, on Friday and Saturday, there were more than 300 cases each day. And on Sunday and yesterday, there were about 160 new cases each day. Now, that means there were more than 1,100 new cases this weekend. Also, the state's positive test rate rose again to more than 11%. And 4 more women and 3 more men have died from the virus.
The Navajo Nation is reopening at a limited capacity. President Jonathan Nez signed papers today allowing some businesses to reopen with capacity limits as well as safety protocols. Roads in and out of the nation will reopen as well. That includes the popular Monument Valley in Utah and Arizona.
This is getting to the point of, I would say, critical blood shortage.
One of Utah's largest healthcare providers has been forced to postpone some major surgeries.
It's because of a nationwide blood shortage right now. Fox 13's Haley Higgins spoke to a family facing a major setback.
59-year-old Peter Beverly was scheduled to finally receive a piece of his son's liver last week. The Taylorsville grandfather suffers from non-alcohol related liver disease.
We're just taking it a day at a time. Some days are good, some days are bad.
One day before, doctors canceled the organ transplant. If something went wrong, there would not be enough blood.
And it's just like, wow, like I can't believe, we're that critically low.
I really have not seen a perfect storm like this before.
The blood shortage forces Intermountain Health to postpone many organ transplant and cardiac-related surgeries. At University of Utah Health, they're close to giving a different blood type to patients, risking complications.
And it's a life or death call where we're in a situation that we may not have the specific blood type for that person and we're out of O negative blood.
Several factors are in play. This summer, hospitals report an increase in trauma-related emergency surgery, plus a spike in procedures deferred during the pandemic. Couple that with only about half of the normal donors coming in compared to a typical summer. The American Red Cross in Utah likes to have about 5 days worth of blood on hand. Right now, they have less than half a day. While Peter's transplant is rescheduled for the end of the month, the Beverly family pleads for blood donations.
We're not the only ones affected by this. I mean, we were told there were many other people who had their surgeries postponed.
In Salt Lake City, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Late last month, Intermountain Health had so many trauma patients they used more than 25% of their typical month supply of blood in just one weekend. If you'd like to donate, go to fox13now.com.
11 people who disrupted a Granite School Board meeting of education are now facing charges. The protesters were charged with disorderly conduct as well as disrupting a public meeting for their actions on May 4th. They were upset about students being required to wear masks in schools. They say many of them were part of a group called Utah Parents United. Granite says a 12th suspect has not been identified, but police are trying to figure out who they are.
There is a sigh of relief after there were no new major wildfires in Utah over the July 4th weekend. Many Utahns heeded the pleas of leaders and firefighters to skip the fireworks. Governor Cox's office is grateful Utahns chose to forego personal fireworks and hope it continues through the Pioneer Day holiday. As a reminder, it's illegal to light fireworks before July 22nd at 11 a.m.
Let's take a quick look now at Utah wildfires. The Monk Springs fire that's in Millard County is now 80% contained. Lightning started this blaze. Ground crews southeast of Kanash are making their hot embers, making sure they're completely extinguished in that area. And after burning almost 9,000 acres for nearly a month, the Pat Creek fire southeast of Moab is now fully contained. An abandoned campfire started this blaze.
But I'll tell you what, the hot temperatures are back in case you didn't notice,
in a big
Allison.
way.
Yeah.
Yes, and they'll be back in a big way for a very long time. Our extended forecast, dangerously hot for a lot of the state. Right now it's 100 over in Wendover, Wasatch Front, Salt Lake 98, 95 for Heber currently, 94 for Vernal. St. George 109, so we are tracking record temperatures here across the state. It's quite a bit warmer than this time 24 hours ago, especially for the Logan area and Bryce Canyon. It's a good 15 degrees hotter than this time yesterday. We also have a few showers near the Nevada border. Now, Salt Lake tonight at 10 p.m. 82, by 8 a.m. 79 degrees. So we're going to have a warm start tomorrow morning by noon, about 100 degrees here in Salt Lake City. So here's what you need to know. We have heat advisories for everything highlighted in orange. So for northern and western Utah. Then we're going to have the heat advisories for central, southeastern, and southwestern Utah, plus heat warnings for lower Washington County and the Lake Powell area. That'll go Wednesday until Sunday. And then we'll have a fire weather watch as we head into Thursday and Friday for the mountains of northern and northeastern Utah. That'll be a fire weather watch as it's going to be hot and our wind will pick up. But Futurecast keeps a few showers into Nevada through the early evening hours. So what can you expect with this heat wave, the fire concerns over the next couple of days? I'll let you know how high those temperatures will climb coming up in the full forecast.
Thanks, Allison. Still to come, what could help relieve the shortage of doctors in Utah? We'll take a look at what's being done now to help prevent the problem from getting any worse.
And caught on camera, a falling tree, oh my goodness, comes just inches from a baby in her crib. What happened moments before this incident? The Utah Highway Patrol stopped nearly 4,000 drivers over the holiday weekend. They caught more than 2,000 alleged speeders, 78 of whom were going more than 100 miles an hour. There were 71 DUI arrests, 163 crashes, one of which was fatal. 5 involved alcohol.
Travel numbers for the holiday weekend are estimated to be the second highest on record, just behind Independence Day 2019. Economists believe 44 million Americans drove to their destinations, while another 3.5 million are estimated to have flown.
This represents 90% of pre-pandemic levels, and it's an increase of 164% compared to last year.
Zions Bank's senior economist Robert Spendlove says the busy 4th of July travel weekend signals a return to normal for tourism in Utah. Spendlove says a full return of travel and tourism is one of the final pieces needed for a full economic recovery.
There are now 3 medical schools in Utah, and experts say it could help with the shortage of doctors in the state. For years, the University of Utah was the only medical school in the state of Utah, but now there are also 2 private medical schools. Rocky Vista, that's in Ivins, just had their first graduating class. Now Norda College in Provo, which is opening in just a few weeks with its first class. Salt Lake Tribune reporter Aaron Alberti spoke with Fox 13 News in depth this afternoon about how the state will be training hundreds of new doctors each year.
Near the bottom of the country in terms of the number of doctors per residence. It's kind of one of these fast growing areas where the number of doctors just really hasn't kept up with the population.
Alberti also says health officials hope that by having more medical schools in Utah, some of the graduates will stay closer to home, pushing doctor retention rates in Utah higher.
Still to come, the search in Surfside, Florida continues as more bodies are pulled from the rubble. The message Florida's governor has as a tropical storm approaches his state.
As the surge here at the southern border continues, states from all around the country are now sending help to Border Patrol. I'm Bill Malugin in La Jolla, Texas. That story coming up.
In national news, nearly a dozen states all across the country are now sending help to the southern border. This in an effort to help stem the constant stream of migrants crossing into the U.S.
It is an issue for many states around the country. Fox's Bill Malugin has the latest from Texas.
The flood of migrants crossing the southern border into the U.S. showing no signs of letting up. But now, more help arriving here in Texas as Republican governors from at least 10 different states are responding to Texas Governor Abbott's call for help.
To create an environment where people will choose, they don't want to come across the border into the state of Texas anymore because it's not what they were expecting.
States like Florida and Nebraska already on the ground in the Del Rio sector, providing additional police officers and National Guard troops to assist Border Patrol. Help from additional states like Iowa, Idaho, Arkansas, and South Carolina also on the way.
We had a border that was pretty much secured. Now, with the new policies, the new administration, It has really turned into the Wild West.
All this as large groups of migrants continue to cross over into the country. On Tuesday morning alone, a group of at least 100 migrants, mainly women and children, were apprehended by Border Patrol in La Jolla, Texas. Meanwhile, the Latin advocacy group League of United Latin American Citizens delivering a letter to President Biden, urging him to stop states from sending help, calling it an insurrection from rebellious states that must be stopped.
That logic is not going to help this current crisis right now. If you do not agree with what Governor Abbott is doing or what the state of Texas is doing by providing all these resources for this crisis, then what solutions do you have?
And agents here at the border say illegal crossings have now reached a record 20-year high. Reporting in La Jolla, Texas, Bill Malugin, Fox 13 News, Utah.
First, she was forced to miss the 100-meter race. Now, Sha'Carri Richardson will not participate in the Tokyo Olympics at all. Richardson tested positive for marijuana after her win at the Olympic trials in Oregon last month. Today, USA Track and Field announced she would not be participating in the 4x100 relay team, which she would have been eligible to participate in after the end of her suspension on August 5th.
Oh my gosh, terrifying moments there, all caught on camera, showing rafters, debris, and insulation falling on a sleeping 5-month-old baby after a tree crashed onto the roof and then into the house. The whole ordeal, you saw it, was caught on the nursery's baby monitor. Mom and Dad had just put their baby to bed on Friday. They noticed the weather was getting bad. A few minutes later, they heard a loud noise. They ran in to check on their baby, and they were shocked to see part of a tree in the hallway and then debris. You see it right there in the baby's crib.
My goodness.
And that baby, thankfully, was not hurt.
Well, it has been 6 months since the U.S. Capitol insurrection, and the Justice Department says it is still looking for people who were involved. More than 500 people have already been arrested in connection with the incident, while Congress was trying to certify President Joe Biden's election victory. The Department of Justice is also looking for people accused of attacks on law enforcement officers and threats against journalists.
Take a live look right now at Key West, Florida, as Tropical Storm Elsa continues to gain strength. Elsa's lightning strikes and heavy rain right now is threatening search and rescue efforts at the condo collapse site in Surfside, Florida.
Speaking of that, 36 people are now confirmed dead and more than 100 are still unaccounted for at this hour.
Nadia Romero explains Elsa's impact as the search in Surfside continues.
Mauricio, this is me, this is Gabriela, this is Maria Inés.
Sharing pictures and stories outside the collapsed condo in Surfside, Florida. A brother waiting for answers about his missing sister.
My sister Gabriela, reza por me, pray for me. She's already up there. Pray for me and pray for all that love you, for all of us that love you.
Search efforts in Surfside interrupted by lightning, with fears more delays or problems could brew from Tropical Storm Elsa's wrath.
We do continue to expect occasional gusts and strong showers today, and we're closely monitoring the weather.
In other parts of the state,
begin your preparations now. Be prepared to be without power for a few days.
Loading up on sandbags. Some airlines waiving change fees for impacted travelers, and at least 2 airports announcing closures. Some hitting the road out of the storm's path, but not before tying down and securing their homes.
We just want to do everything that we can at this point.
Back at Surfside, it's all hands on deck, unless Elsa gets in the way.
We now have our weather service embedded within our search and rescue teams to work closely to track for any changes that could impact the work to assure the safety of our first responders.
Nadia Romero, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So tough to see the situation, of course, with the rescue operation, search and rescue operation, and then the weather, the rain and the wind there is so fierce.
Yes, and you know, here in Utah, we need rain, and we've got hot temperatures on tap Fire concerns here for Utah, but obviously I'll get to that satellite and radar down in Florida in just a second. But here's what you need to know. It is going to be dangerously hot the next couple of days. Right now it's 95 for Heber and Twilla. Salt Lake, it's currently 98 degrees. Draper, 91 currently. 95 for Harriman, 96 up in Farmington. It is dangerously hot in southern Utah. St. George, 109. Page. So the Lake Powell area close to 105 right now. A few showers near the Nevada border over towards Wells and Elko along I-80, but some of that's not quite reaching the ground. The bigger picture, it's a dry day here across the state, but down into Florida, as you can see, that storm continues to work its way up that western coast of Florida, still impacting just west of Key West and then up through Naples, Fort Myers. Next up, Tampa. So keeping our eye on Elsa back here in Utah, keeping our eye on excessive heat warnings for the areas in hot pink, lower Washington County and Lake Powell. This will start tomorrow. The heat warning will take you through Sunday night for the areas of orange. So Wellington over to Moab, down through Bryce into southeastern Washington County. That'll be a heat advisory from Wednesday until Sunday night. For northern Utah, our heat advisory will kick into place tomorrow. It will take you through Thursday night. And then we'll also have a fire weather watch Thursday into Friday for the mountains of northern Utah. Right now it's 98 here in Salt Lake. UV index for tomorrow will be extreme. We're not getting much help from cloud cover here across the region. And of course, our elevation makes things a little bit worse. But temperature-wise, compared to this time 24 hours ago, Logan and Bryce Canyon about 15 degrees hotter out there. It's a bit breezy currently for the Cedar City area, Milford, St. George, Moab, and Vernal, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. When you wake up tomorrow morning here in Salt Lake, it'll be around 70 to 80 degrees. And then by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, close to 90 degrees. Temperatures close to 105 tomorrow. So dangerous heat even here along the Wasatch Front, with mostly sunny sky. Overnight temps about 65 to 75 tomorrow morning, and then it's going to be close to 100 degrees to 110 for most of Utah as another heat wave really takes hold here across the west, and that keeps us very hot through the 7-day forecast. For St. George, you're close to 110 to 115 through Sunday. Early next week, still in the 100s. Extremely hot for St. George. And for the Wasatch Front, our hottest days will be Wednesday and Thursday. A little bit cooler for Friday and Saturday, but still above average. And by Sunday, back into the triple digits here in Salt Lake City. Coming up later in the hour, let's talk about the fire concerns over the next couple of days. Our wind will pick up and what you can expect beyond the 7-day forecast coming up later this hour.
She did tell us that he was attacking her and she got her gun to defend herself.
A woman shoots and kills her husband at their martial arts studio in Nagna. What police are revealing in their investigation.
It's going to be a major impact this year.
Utah's seeing infestations of grasshoppers and Mormon crickets. I'll tell you how bad it's going to get coming up.
The calls keep going up. It's around the country.
Fire departments across the country say it is getting harder to find willing volunteers to respond to those calls. How you can help out. Russian hackers behind the cyber attack on meat processor JBS are reportedly lowering their demand after attacking thousands of companies all around the globe.
Revel posted on a dark website that it has a universal decryptor software key that can fix machines affected by its cyber attacks. The group originally said it would only release the key in exchange for $70 million. Experts at KrebsOnSecurity.com say Revel is now willing to accept only $50 million. Reuters was able to talk to the group, who says they're willing to negotiate.
Costco members who are at least 60 years old or disabled have less than a month now left to take advantage of special shopping hours. The wholesale club is dropping special pandemic shopping times. Right now, only members who are seniors, disabled, or compromised with their health are allowed to shop between 9 and 10 a.m. on weekdays. Many other retailers set aside similar times. Normal hours at Costco resume on July 26th. Walmart and Target still have senior hours listed on their websites.
Chick-fil-A has earned top accolades in the American Customer Satisfaction Index for the 7th year in a row. The ACSI measures cleanliness, staff helpfulness, and quality, among other things. The company dropped 1% in the ratings from last year, but still took top honors. The industry standard customer satisfaction rating remains at 78. Domino's leads the pizza restaurants with a score of 80, and KFC and Starbucks both tied at 79.
Chick-fil-A, they're good.
Yeah.
Listen to this. Chipotle now offering an incentive for people to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The Mexican fast food chain is offering buy one, get one free from 3 p.m. today to closing for customers buying an entree. Now, you don't need to show proof of vaccination. Just tell the cashier, friends BOGO at checkout. They'll take your word for it. There is a limit of 2 free items per customer, and each item does require a purchase. This is for in-restaurant orders only, and there is still a cost for guacamole and other extras.
Stocks finished mixed today, the first day back after a long holiday weekend. The Dow dropped 209 points to close at 34,577. The Nasdaq rose 24 and the S&P lost 9.
He put his snakes out back in his backyard, and he left them in their containers, but somehow one of the containers got knocked over.
And that's a problem. It's not something anyone would want to encounter. What police in Tooele want you to know about a dangerous pet snake on the loose right now.
It's pretty simple to convince someone that this is a very cool World War II era bomber, but convincing someone to fly one, that's another story.
We've had a plague, so have you checked pestilence off your apocalypse bingo card yet? I've got the story coming up.
Right now, a Magna woman is behind bars facing murder charges for allegedly killing her husband.
It happened very early this morning at Vincent's House of Goju, a martial arts studio near 9100 West Main Street in Magna. The studio was apparently run by the victim and the suspect in this case. Unified Police got the initial call at about 12:30 this morning, with the suspect herself calling to say she had shot her husband. Deputies arrived moments later to find him dead from a gunshot wound. The suspect, the victim's wife, was interviewed and then arrested on suspicion of murder.
Domestic violence, married couple. Cynthia Vincent is currently in the Salt Lake County Jail on murder charges, and her husband Michael is deceased. It's a horribly tragic story. She did tell us that he was attacking her and she got her gun to defend herself.
The Martial Arts Studio's Facebook page indicates the business will be closed until further notice. Cynthia Vincent, as was just said, is in jail being held without bail. She will likely make her first appearance before a judge within the next few days. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there is help available. The Domestic Violence Coalition is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the number on your screen, 1-800-897-5465. And if you're in immediate danger, call 911.
Tonight, we are learning more about the final moments of a Sandy woman whose body was found over the weekend. 53-year-old Masako Kenley's family reported her disappearance to police on July 3rd. One day later, her body was discovered near the Jordan River. Investigators combed through phone records and video surveillance to determine Kenley and the man police later arrested, William O'Reilly, were together on July 2nd. Investigators also found Kenley's personal items, including her purse, in O'Reilly's vehicle.
Miss Kenley had been shot twice. She had been shot once in the chest. She also had multiple wounds consistent with an edged weapon.
Investigators say the two were acquainted but could not confirm the extent of their relationship. O'Reilly was taken into custody yesterday at the hospital after an apparent suicide attempt. He's facing suspicion of first-degree felony aggravated murder, abuse or desecration of a body, as well as obstruction of justice. Well, here's a scary story. A Tooele neighborhood now on edge after an 8-foot boa constrictor snake escaped its enclosure and it's now missing.
Tooele police said last Friday the snake's owner placed it in a plastic container in his backyard in the area of Antelope Avenue while he was having work done on his house. That's when the owner says the container got knocked over and the snake escaped. Police have advice for anyone who encounters this massive boa constrictor.
Do not approach it, please. I mean, the owner says it's a friendly snake, but it's still an 8-foot snake. Please just call dispatch so the animal control officers and the owner can come pick it up.
Animal control helped the owner research for about 90 minutes for the snake before giving up.
New at 5:30, more bad news for Utah's agriculture producers.
Rural counties around the state are reporting outbreaks of grasshoppers and Mormon crickets. As Fox 13's Ben Winslow reports from Morgan, it is an infestation that's going to get a lot worse.
As if the drought weren't bad enough, now some Utah farmers are being hit with grasshoppers and Mormon crickets.
My family has been running Clark Family Dairy since the 1890s. I've never seen grasshoppers like we've seen this year.
Bruce Clark barely got a crop in for his family's dairy farm when grasshoppers destroyed it.
The grasshoppers have just mowed the heads off of almost everything that was here.
Now he's trying to figure out how to get hay for his cattle.
Hopefully it's available. If it's not available, we're going to have to start selling cows.
The state is getting more and more reports of grasshopper and Mormon cricket infestations. Here in Morgan, they've been helping farmers prepare.
We see the 6 to 8 year cycle with grasshoppers. We see a 20-year cycle with Mormon crickets. And what we're kind of seeing is them starting to come together.
It's a natural phenomenon that couldn't come at a worse time for Utah, which is in the middle of a drought emergency.
Just their natural cycle, for one, but also the drought may have a significant impact on the increases of populations as well, because when we have big winter years with lots of precipitation, long drawn-out springs, it creates fungus dieback to egg beds and dieback to the actual populations in some cases. With this drought, they're probably doing all that much better.
Last year, Mormon crickets were spotted in Beaver County. But as you can see on this map, grasshoppers are really prevalent in Utah and across the West. Utah's Department of Agriculture and Food offers some assistance to farmers whose crops are being impacted, but they acknowledge the pests do provide some benefit.
They're here to stay. We're not looking to eradicate these. We're just looking to help out producers when they become problematic.
They've done their damage.
Bruce Clark has already sprayed some of his farmland.
It's going to be a major impact this year. I'm just hoping the price of milk doesn't go too high so consumers stop buying it, or stay too low that we don't make any money.
And because this is cyclical, the state entomologist says you can expect grasshopper and cricket infestations to actually get worse over the next few years before the population eventually collapses on itself. In Morgan, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A rare sight in northern Utah today as my favorite airplane on the planet, the B-17, a World War II bomber, landed in Logan.
I've heard stories about the B-17.
Oh, yeah. I've flown on one before.
Exactly. This is exciting for you,
yeah,
Bob.
It is.
As Fox 13's Brian Champagne reports, the plane has historical value, but some also hope it will inspire the next round of pilots.
It sounds like nothing else flying, lands like few other planes, and commands a presence like nothing else you could see this week in Utah.
This is a Boeing B-17G Flying Fortress.
The bomber is stopping for tours and rides in Logan this week.
It teaches generations that have never heard about World War II what the airplanes were like back then, and more importantly, what the crewmen and the people of that era went through.
The plane is great and its story is great, but it's the people stories that really have the impact.
When I was little, I saw the movie Memphis Belle and just fell in love with military aviation. And so later on, I actually went into the Navy and flew medevac helicopters.
Actually getting your hands on a World War II bomber can help you get a sense of the history of that time. And it could help with a current problem.
The shortage would be, I won't go so far as to say dire, but it's up there.
V-speeds are here. Here at the USU Flight School, they estimate that the country is about 80,000 pilots short. This plane's pilots are okay with flying.
This is the best job in the world.
Just an honor to
that they let me fly.
Traffic 70, uniform 2, turning left downwind, runway 35.
But starting out in the business can be tough.
Most of the times when they go to the airlines, they'll spend the first 5 or so years as a first officer working towards becoming a captain of a regional jet.
And Dyke says the commercial pilot lifestyle makes recruiting tough.
They figure the travel's good, but when they learn they have to be away from home for 4 days in a row on a trip for one of the airlines, they're less inclined to take those types of opportunities.
Even though it gets better.
My dad was a pilot for the airlines. He used to fly this airplane. My brother's a pilot for the airlines. He still flies this airplane. It's a great career. Has a lot of advantages and bonuses if you like travel, and it's a lot of travel.
Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
People don't think about volunteers, you know. It's out of sight, out of mind. You know, you call 911, somebody's going to show up. You know, unfortunately, it just might take them a little longer to get there.
The number of volunteer firefighters we rely on is likely more than you realize, but their numbers have been dropping. The new push to get more people to give their time to help our communities.
And get ready for some record heat here across the state, when we'll have fire concerns and where we have those heat warnings coming up.
Just into the Fox 13 newsroom, a portion of I-215 in Taylorsville is closed because the road is buckling. You can see the activity on the right-hand side of your screen right there. This is a live look at I-215 on the west side. Northbound near 5400 South is where the problem is. The right 2 lanes are closed, so UDOT can make repairs. Those lanes are expected to remain closed for about an hour as they work on this. We'll keep you posted.
Causing a little bit of a bottleneck there for drivers heading north. Well, did you know in most of the country, firefighters aren't paid? They're volunteers.
And as Maya Rodriguez shows us, volunteer fire departments are now putting out their own call for help.
It's not your typical parent-child bonding time.
Sometimes it's not always cool to have mom there.
And this is not the typical place.
Ask them, hey, what do you think if I join with you? Would you mind?
It was good. It wasn't a bad thing.
Meet Denise and Gabe King, the first mother-son duo to graduate from the Delaware State Fire School. The two recently joined the fire department in their hometown of Smyrna, Delaware.
I've served in the military, so I've always had a love to kind of give back to my country, to my community, and just be there to help where I can.
And their help is invaluable, literally. In this fire company, everyone is an unpaid volunteer.
Nobody that walks through our halls in our fire department gets paid at all. We don't receive a dime.
Chris Hudson would know. He's been a volunteer firefighter here for more than 2 decades.
People don't think about volunteers, you know. It's out of sight, out of mind. You know, you call 911, somebody's going to show up. You know, unfortunately, it just might take them a little longer to get there.
But that's getting harder to do. Call volume is skyrocketing, and willing volunteers are getting harder to find.
So the calls keep going up, and it's just not in Smyrna, it's around the country.
According to the National Volunteer Fire Council, out of the more than 1.1 million firefighters in the U.S., 745,000 of them are volunteers. That's 67%. All of their donated time and services amount to $47 billion a year. But the number of volunteer firefighters is on the decline, even as the number of calls to firefighters virtually tripled over the past 3 decades.
Yeah, we need your help. Your local community needs your help. Whatever you can give, whether it be 5 hours a day, 5 hours a week, 5 hours a month, your local volunteer fire department's going to take it.
Which is how Denise and Gabe King came to be firefighters after spotting the Help Wanted sign outside the fire station. They've already responded to multiple calls.
You really have a big impact on the community, not only helping somebody in their darkest time, but also coming to somebody's birthday party to drive by a fire truck for a little kid. So it's really a big impact that you can make on this community.
When that siren goes off, everyone drops what they're doing from their homes and kind of comes running.
A call volunteer fire departments hope more people might choose to answer. In Smyrna, Delaware, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
You can find a list of volunteer opportunities at fire departments right in your own area at makemeafirefighter.org. You can find that link at fox13now.com.
being able to show people that, women know how to brew, women know how to run businesses, women can be successful at this.
Well, it's still mostly men who own craft breweries, but that's starting to change. How one organization is making it possible for women across the country to join the industry.
Coming up in sports, Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Will Giannis Antetokounmpo play in Game 1? And RSL looking to get off this 3-match funk. And they're starting tomorrow night against Vancouver. Aaron Herrera will tell us what needs to change.
The craft brewing industry has been dominated by men. The Brewers Association says more than 77% of owners around the country are men.
Michelle London shows us how one organization is working to change that statistic and bringing more women into the beer scene.
Unique lager blends on tap to end a long workday.
A little sassy.
Part of what draws customers in to Lady Justice Brewery.
We run the range. Right now we have a really fun Pride beers, our seltzer or our sour beer. We tend to do pale ales.
Betsy Lay,
our boiled kettle.
owner and head brewer, says it's the welcoming and inclusive atmosphere that keeps the regulars coming back. But pouring into the community is its main mission.
We donate a majority of our profits over cost to nonprofits in Colorado that work with women and girls.
The brew barrels inside, named after 7 Lady Supreme Court justices.
And then these 2 are named after our moms.
Just one clue of what sets this brewery apart from the rest.
We're also all female-owned, female-founded.
Betsy makes up 1/3 of this women-owned crew here in Denver. A huge breakthrough in the craft beer industry with surprisingly low statistics.
We learned very quickly that us existing as a female-owned, female-brewed company was actually really important to a lot of people. We had no idea.
There's still a lot more representation than there was at one point. But we're still, would say for sure, underrepresented.
International nonprofit Pink Boots Society makes it its mission to change that, and it's working. Over the year, they've provided almost 80 $2,800 scholarships to aspiring female brewers nationwide. The reason Emily Stewart Masqua, senior brewer at Blue Moon, recognized the benefit Pink Boot Society can make in cities across the country.
Creating space and where females are able to freely express themselves, maybe in an environment that they don't necessarily get at their normal jobs.
With their boots to the ground approach, they raise scholarship money through fundraisers, helping to provide startup money and coaching, all things that wouldn't be affordable on a brewer's salary.
They know how important offering these scholarships to people who normally wouldn't have access to these things.
Currently at more than 2,400 members strong, Pink Boots offers that access to women brewers in 32 different countries, including the U.S. with chapters in all of these states. A scholarship from the Pink Boots Society is exactly what helped Betsy and her team open doors to Lady Justice back in 2020. She's hoping her brew pub will inspire other young women to join Pink Boots.
Being able to show people that, women know how to brew, women know how to run businesses, women can be successful at this, and we can do it in a way that gives back to our community.
So younger women aspiring to join the industry will be equipped with resources to brew long term. I'm Michelle London reporting.
Did you notice Utah on that map? If you are an aspiring brewer in need of financial help, you can get more information through the Pink Boot Society. We have a link to their website at fox13now.com.
The Family Search Family History Library is now back open in downtown Salt Lake City after being closed for 16 months. The library originally closed down due to COVID-19, but the shutdown also helped to ramp up renovations inside. Now, when guests walk in, they'll notice newly organized research materials, upgraded technology, desktop book scanners, and more room for interactive experiences.
There are a lot of people trying to connect with family that they haven't been able to connect before, or people in their ancestry that they simply didn't know, and they didn't know their stories. And when they learn these unique, fabulous stories, it's very touching, it's very personal.
It's really a neat place. There are more than 300 staff and volunteers on hand there at the library to help guests with their genealogy research. The Family History Library is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
It is so hot here across the state, so all those indoor activities will be the way to go the next couple of days. 95 for Price, 91 even up in Park City, up in Logan right now, currently 96, Bear Lake 85. This is the best time of the year to be at Bear Lake. Temperatures across southern Utah. St. George is about 110 right now, so it's extremely hot. Cedar City 96, and as you wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to have another hot day. Temperatures into the 90s or close to it by 10 or 11 a.m. tomorrow morning here along the Wasatch Front. Air quality also Wednesday and Thursday will be mandatory action for Salt Lake County at the orange level, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you've got the opportunity to work from home, if your company lets you do that on days where you can help the air quality, I would suggest asking for those days at home. Now for northern Nevada along I-80 between Wendover and Elko, we do have a few showers and an isolated thunderstorm or two, but not seeing any big impacts from that. The biggest impacts this week will be in the form of problems with our heat. So St. George and Lake Powell will have heat warnings tomorrow through Sunday. The areas of orange, so central and southern Utah plus northwestern Utah, and along the Wasatch Front, heat advisories. And then for the mountains of northern Utah, fire weather watch later this week. So fire concerns will ramp up, especially heading into Thursday and Friday here across the region. But first thing tomorrow morning, it'll be a warm start, about 60 to 75 degrees. Salt Lake will be one of the warmer cities tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow at 5 p.m., 104 in Salt Lake, 102 up in the Ogden area, and about 110 in St. George. Chance for a few showers tomorrow afternoon, mainly on the outskirts of Utah. Same thing heading into Thursday, but up into Wyoming. About the main impact over the next couple of days will be this heat, and it's going to stick around for a long time, close to 110 to 115 for St. George through the weekend, and we'll keep this heat around through most of next week, if not all of next week. Close to 105 for Salt Lake Wednesday and Thursday, mid to upper 90s Friday, Saturday, still around triple digits Sunday into next week.
Well, as if soccer players don't sweat enough, it's almost sixes with the heat wave up in the northwest. RSL playing at home tomorrow night.
Luckily, the game, I guess, starts at 8 o'clock, where it might cool down.
Yeah, so it'll only be 100 degrees.
The last time RSL won a match against Vancouver on June 18th. Since then, lost in Seattle. They tied Houston at home, and then they lost 1-0 at LAFC at Rio Tinto Stadium on Saturday. That has RSL on the wrong side of the playoff line in 9th place. It's a long season, so RSL knows they have time to pull themselves back up and start getting the results they want.
This is just one of those things that happens sometimes throughout your season. You're struggling to sort of just find the breakthrough to take our results to the next level and just start winning a lot more games. And obviously we've been going through a tough spell. We can't get the goal, or we can't keep that one goal out of the net that gives us the result. So I don't know, it's just very minor details, and those very minor details will make a big difference in the grand scheme of things. So we gotta take it to the next level, and yeah, I mean whatever that is, we gotta do it.
Well, tonight's game one of the NBA Finals between the Phoenix Suns and Milwaukee Bucks. Injuries have been a big theme throughout the playoffs, and they continue. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been upgraded from doubtful to questionable for tonight's game. He missed the last 2 games of the Eastern Conference Finals after he hyperextended his left knee in Game 4. He was on the court warming up moments ago. It'll be a game-time decision if he plays, as both teams play for an NBA title.
We've had goals for this group and aspirations for this group since day one. We're on the constant pursuit to get better. Just a focus for everybody, to be locked in, preparing for this opportunity right here.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and really just leave everything out there. Believe in yourself because you prepared for it, and most of all, just enjoy it, everything that comes with it.
The Bucks have 2 players with local ties, former Utah State and Bountiful star Sam Merrill and Elijah Bryant from BYU. They're not in the regular rotation, but they're on the team.
They're still there.
NBA Finals.
Yeah. I cannot believe Giannis may play tonight.
Yeah.
After that injury?
Yeah, you saw how his...
His nickname, it's the Greek Freak. So maybe he has super recovery powers.
The Greek food, that's what does it.
You're the Greek salad lover.
There you go.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll be right back.
Thanks for being part of Fox 13 News Live at 5.
Have a great evening, and we hope to see you back here tonight at 9 o'clock. We'll be here.
Yeah, enjoy your dinner. Eat Greek food.